Well, despite its mainstream popularity increasing, crypto crime has remained a top headline. Blockchain analysis firm Chainalysis recently reporting that crime involving cryptocurrencies hit a record $14 billion in 2021. And the Justice Department recently charging a married couple for allegedly laundering $4.5 million of crypto during a 2016 hack of Bitfinex earlier this month. Well, it's the latter of those two that's led the FBI to launch a new unit for blockchain analysis and virtual asset seizure. For more on this, I'm joined by Karim Hijazi, CEO of Prevailion, a next-generation cyber intelligence company. Karim, thank you so much for coming on the show. How difficult will this initiative be for the FBI to effectively pursue?
Hi, Kristen. Thanks for having me. It's going to be challenging for sure, because the challenge here is that crypto by nature is decentralized. That's the whole purpose behind it. It's meant to be something that essentially isn't centralized. It's not in one place where you can actually go see what's transpired. It's this strange dichotomy of a ledger everywhere where everyone can see what's happened and then no one can essentially control. So we saw this with some of the ransomware attacks last year with things like, I think, Colonial, where the FBI was able to get back a certain amount of the Bitcoin that was stolen. Now, Bitcoin is one of those, it's the earliest one. It's the one that essentially has the least amount of anonymity associated with it. There's plenty of others now that have come about. They're a lot harder to track. So I do fear that there may be some over enthusiasm about the technical pursuits of this. I think there'll be some really good headway with getting things like fraudulent exchanges managed, unlicensed exchanges where, they're luring in customers to join and put their money in that are actually not real. That's going to be good. I think that effort's going to be fruitful, but I worry that this idea that if you lose your cryptocurrency, that the government's going to step in and get it back for you, I don't know that we're going to see as much success there.
Can it effectively, though, Karim, make it safer? I mean, I think in some circumstances it certainly gives more gravitas to crypto, that institutions are recognizing it, they're pursuing it, they're trying to surveil it more and more, but on net, as it does become more mainstream, do you think that the FBI can be effective?
Yes, with anything that I think gains mainstream adoption, like you're talking about, I think there's the positive side is that, yes, there's this general framework being established around how to manage it, and I think that does benefit the average crypto investor to protect them in some ways. So, for all intents and purposes, the equivalency of an FDIC type of approach to the situation is great. But the problem is the nature of it is so fluid, and the fact that the protocols are not really well established in terms of government control, and I don't know that they'll ever really get there with it. I think that, at least the people that we've spoken with, there's skepticism about this pursuit. It's sort of, okay, is this really for the betterment of the community in crypto, or is this all about trying to find a way to properly tax everyone that has it, right? And I think it's both. I don't really think it's one or the other. I think there's benefits to both. So I do think that there's value in having an oversight, but I think that we're going to have to manage our expectations there.
Another question here for you in terms of activity that you're seeing in the cryptocurrency space. How is it heating up in 2022? Is it, Karim, simply because we know the price was on a roller coaster ride last year in 2021, peaking at its high, falling significantly, and it's been under pressure for most of the year, not even really coming close to that recent high in the spring of last year?
Right. And it's interesting, crypto, unlike, our stock markets, it's a microcosm in comparison. There's a very small subset of people that can fluctuate. We've all seen Elon Musk's tweets that change the entire, sort of trajectory of something kind of in minutes. That'll eventually change when there's truly mass adoption and the banks get into it where there's a lot more folks in it and it's a lot more leveled out, possibly. I think that last year, we saw the rise of the metaverse drive some of that growth again, and then it fell off a little. I think we need these, sort of things to take hold to kind of give it that under push. I mean, it's hard to really see where these things are getting their motivation from. Again, if it can be as simple as a tweet, who knows where it's coming from? There's going to be something else. I think that, the Ukrainian-Russian situation also will have an impact on this. People might be fearful of some of their more conventional investments in organizations that maybe have an impact with this environment. So they may put in alternative investments like crypto. So that may actually bolster it for all we know.
Well, the Justice Department, I know, announcing here that Yoon-Young Choi is going to be the first director of the National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. What do we know about this person and how they'll lead this effort?
So Choi seems to be a very accomplished prosecutor, was, I think, attorney assistant or assistant attorney general at the Southern District of New York. Did some very high profile pursuits around the Panama Papers, if I'm not mistaken. Also was involved in the whole Silk Road takedown and all that. So fairly accomplished there. Certainly a regulator of sorts, not necessarily, to my knowledge, a cybersecurity or intelligence professional. Probably very skillful and dangerous in that area, but probably will be assembling a team of professionals around this effort. So I think they've done a really good job picking her to lead this effort. I'll be very keen to see what comes of her team and what she pulls together.
We'll be watching closely here on Cheddar News. And closing bell, Karim Hijazi, CEO of Prevailion. Karim, thank you again for joining the show.